Hello students, the chapter we discussed in the previous video, vital villages and thriving towns. Today we'll discuss about second part of this chapter and we'll start with the topic coins. You have seen coins so many times. You also use at this time in India as currency coins. You may have noticed how wealth is measured in terms of coins in the story on page 82 when we discussed about and read the story of a clever poor man. So, in that story, we felt the value of coins at that time. Archaeologists have found several thousands of coins belonging to this period. The earliest coins which were in use for about 500 years were punch marked coins. Which coins? Punch marked coins, and such as the one shown below in this picture or in this image. These are punch marked coins. You can see in this image punch marked coins. Sometimes these were square, sometimes is slight round. Here punch marked coins. Punch marked coins were generally rectangular or sometimes square or round in shape, either cut out of metal sheets or made out of flattened metal globules. Globules means a small spherical body. The coins were not inscribed, means nothing was written on the coins. Nothing was written on the coins, but were stamped with symbols using dies or punches. Hence, they are called punch marked coins. So, this is the reason that they are called punch marked coins. These coins are found over most parts of the subcontinent and remained in circulation till the early centuries of Christ era. So, these are very common in the early centuries after BC during Christ era. These were punch marked coins. Now, other means of exchange. So, one exchange we have discussed, that is coin. So, about coins. Coins were used to purchase something, to sell something, but there were so many other ways or means of exchange, exchanging the goods and products. So, exchanging of goods and products like barter system. What happens in barter system? One person is having wheat and he wants rice, so another person is having rice, so this person will give to this person, person A will give to person B wheat, and person B will give to person A rice. So this is the exchanging system, barter system, based on double coincidence of wants. So through this short poem we can understand from the Sangam collection what were the other means of exchange. As they carry and white paddy of their land. Paddy means they were carrying paddy. To exchange it for the salt of another. Salt of another. This is another product. Crossing the long roads in carts. It means they used to carry the products and their goods and luggages through the carts, through roads in carts, through sands white as moonlight, taking whole families. Means they traveled along, who hate to be left behind. The departure of the salt merchants leaves the city empty. It means with so many people they used to travel. It means almost all the people of that habitant or area they used to travel. Means at one time they left the cities and then reached to another city or to the markets. So it means they left the city together. Salt was produced plentifully along the sea coast. You know that on the coastal regions salt was produced. Today also salt is produced on the coastal regions. So all the people, almost all the people were engaged in making salt or preparing salt, so they left together for selling and for purchasing another good to exchange their salt. Now, cities with many functions. Very often a single town was important, was a variety of reasons, because there were a very few towns there at that time. So let's look at the example of Mathura. We'll read about Mathura more on page number 105. But here we'll study a little about Mathura. That Mathura has been an important settlement for more than 2500 years. It was important because it was located at the crossroads of two major routes of travel and trade. So it was very important city uh, of the point of view travel and trade. For example, Mathura was situated here. So it was the place on the routes from Delhi to Bengal to east, and from Delhi, this was the major city, to south. Clear? So it was situated on two routes, from the northwest to east and from north to south. There were fortifications around the city, so it was very important, and several shrines. Farmers and herders from adjoining areas providing food for people in the city. Means this is city Mathura. Surrounding villages and the people living in these villages, including farmers and herders, used to provide food for the people in the city of Mathura. Farmers used to grow the crops, food grains. Herders used to collect milk and other commodities from their cattle and from animals. So they used to provide food. Mathura was also a center where some extremely fine sculpture was produced. What kind of sculpture? Around 2000 years ago, Mathura became the second capital of Kushanas. Kushanas. It was the capital of Kushanas. You have to remember, about whom you will be reading in chapter 9. Mathura was also a religious center. Today, you can listen about Mathura, that this is the birthplace of God Krishna. But at that time, there were Buddhist monasteries, Jaina shrines, and it was an important center for the worship of Krishna, as I told you. So it was a religious center. Several inscriptions on surfaces such as stone, slabs, statues have been found in Mathura. So these kinds of old and ancient things were found in Mathura. Generally, these are short inscriptions recording gifts made by men, sometimes women, to monasteries and shrines. So these gifts were given to the monasteries and shrines by the people, and generally these were made by men. So these were made by kings and queens, officers, merchants, and craftspersons who lived in the city. For instance, inscriptions from Mathura mention goldsmiths, blacksmiths, weavers, basket makers, and garland makers, perfumers, right? So these kinds of things provided very important knowledge about Mathura. So you can make a list on the basis of the topic we have covered till now. Occupations of people who lived in Mathura, and another list, one occupation that was not practiced in Harappan. The next topic is crafts and craftspersons. So these people also lived there. We also have archaeological evidence for crafts. It means some things have been found by the archaeologists and studied by them. These include extremely fine pottery, known as the northern black polished ware. It gets its name from fact that it is generally found in the northern part of the subcontinent. So these things were found in northern part, so it got the name northern black polished ware. You can see in this image, this is black polished ware. Remember that the archaeological evidence for many crafts may not have survived. It means these things were damaged. We know from text that the manufacture of cloth was important. There were famous centers such as Varanasi in the north, Madurai in the south. Both men and women worked in these centers. You can see in this map Madurai in the south and Varanasi in the north. Many craftspersons and merchants now formed associations known as Shrenis. So you have to remember, keep in your mind that Shrenis used to be there, and these were the associations made by merchants and traders and craftspeople. These Shrenis of craftspersons provided training. Craftspersons were trained by these Shrenis, procured raw material, and distributed the finished product. Then Shrenis of merchants organized the trade. Shrenis also served as banks where rich men and women deposited money, and these Shrenis used this money in their trade. And whenever the rich people used to take back their money, then they also provided the interest. This was invested, and part of the interest was returned or used to support religious institutions such as monasteries. This is about NBPW, Northern Black Polished Ware. Is a hard wheel made metallic looking ware with a shiny black surface. The potter used to expose the earthenware to very high temperature in his kiln, which resulted in the blackening of its outer surface. A fine black slip was also applied on this, which gave the pottery a mirror-like shine. You can see again in this picture, made by the people. So in this way, in these cities, crafts was also very developed. So this was about crafts and crafts persons. So rest of the topic of this chapter we'll study in the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.